Morning, all. All right, so we've got 9 games tonight. Most of them start at 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern. There's 6 of them that start at that time. Then 2 hours or 1 hour later, we get two more, and then 2.5 hours after that, we get one more. So, not too crazy comparatively speaking with last Thursday, but still pretty busy at 4 o'clock my time. Starting with 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 Pacific, the Pittsburgh Penguins in against Boston Bruins. This has been a good matchup for Boston so far. They've won 3 out of 4. Pittsburgh 23-11-2 overall. They're playing better than they were the last time Boston played them. Boston's 18-9-5. And Boston has been kind of a mixed bag since they came back from their unscheduled break. So we'll see how it goes tonight. Offensively, defensively, well, the offensive numbers for Pittsburgh are better than Boston's 3.17 goals per game to the 2.66 for Boston. So Pittsburgh's 12th in goals per game, Boston's 21st. Goals against, 2.61 goals against per game for Pittsburgh. They're 10th. And in 4th place with a 2.34 goals against per game is Boston. And so, defensively, they're the winning team. But in the playoffs, very often now, the offensive team is the one that wins. So if these teams meet in the playoffs, we'll see, right? John Marino's worthy of looking at for Pittsburgh. 2 goals and 5 assists. The offense has started to come around. And Craig Smith, 6 goals and 8 assists. He's been pretty good lately. We'll see if that continues tonight. Also at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, the New York Rangers, 16-15-4. Very thankful to be playing the Buffalo Sabres, so they get a chance to thank them on the ice for helping them out with Philadelphia. And now they're going to try to beat them. It's not a very nice way to thank somebody. 7-23-5 now is the record for Buffalo, who have lost 3 out of 4 against the Rangers. Goals for, goals against, both of them favor the Rangers, of course, whose numbers are very similar to those of Pittsburgh. 3.17 goals per game, which is 11th. On the Buffalo side, they're 31st with 2.14 goals per game. Goals against, the Rangers 12th, 2.66 goals per game, whereas the Buffalo Sabres are 29th at 3.46 goals per game allowed. So we'll see how that goes tonight. Alexis Lafreniere seems to be getting it together. 5 goals, 5 assists for him. He's one of the players that, maybe it was an 82-game season. We would see his numbers get better as the year goes on, but either way. And then on the Buffalo side, there's Casey Mittelstadt, who scored a nice goal last night. He's now got 2 goals, 4 assists. We'll see what his status is after this season, and if he's one of the players who ends up going somewhere. You've got to think there's players in Buffalo that are going to be leaving. A lot of them. 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 Pacific is also the start time for Washington against the Islanders. Now, Washington's won all 3 matchups with the Islanders. The Islanders really need this game. So I went ahead and wore the Islanders for today's preview. Washington's 23-8-4. The Islanders are 22-10-4. And there's got to be some concern with the way the Islanders have played the last couple of weeks. And that Pittsburgh at least showed that teams can adjust to and play their style. And we'll see if other teams do it as well. For goals for, that favors Washington. 3.40 per game, which is 3rd in the National Hockey League. The Islanders are 15th at 2.89 goals scored per game. Goals against, that favors the Islanders, of course. The Washington Capitals are allowing 2.91 goals per game. That's 17th. The Islanders are 3rd with 2.31 goals against per game. Richard Panik, 3 goals, 9 assists for him. Solid depth season for him with the Washington Capitals. And I don't talk about Cal Clutterbuck, but Clutterbuck's on one of my favorite lines in hockey. 3 goals and 5 assists for him. He'll never get the spotlight or anything, but he's a key part of that Islanders bottom 6. 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 Pacific, we've got the Columbus Blue Jackets, who are coming off of their biggest win of the season. They're now 14-15-8 in against Tampa, who were the victims of that biggest win of the season for Columbus. 24-9-2. Columbus has won 2 out of 3 against Tampa, so other teams need to call them. Now, whether it's goals for or goals against, they both greatly favor Tampa. Goals for per game, 2.49 for Columbus, which is 27th. Goals for Tampa, easy for me to say, 3.51 per game. Goals against per game, 3.11 for Columbus, which is 23rd. For Tampa, 2.40, which is 5th. So not too shabby for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Robinson on the Columbus side of things, very prominent bottom 6 forward for them in terms of he always has at least one really good shift per game that I notice. So I wanted to have him on the board. And Sergachev, 2 goals, 20 assists for Sergachev. He is the linchpin on that blue line that's not named Hedman, and so he gets overlooked because he's not Hedman. But for not being Hedman, he's still a pretty good defenseman himself. At 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 Pacific, the Detroit Red Wings in against Florida to finish their season series. This ends it. So Florida's won 5 out of 7 between these two teams, and they're 23-9-4, and Detroit's 12-21-4. So be understandable if you're betting on this game. If you just go, Florida, I can't take Detroit. Can't argue with that. But Detroit, a lot of effort every night. So goals for, goals against, they both favor Florida. 2.16 goals per game for Detroit. They're 30th, so they're barely ahead of Buffalo. Goals against per game, they're 26th at 3.22. So that's, I mean, if you just looked at Bernier's numbers, they'd be pretty good defensively. On the Florida side, 3.28 goals per game, which is 6th. 2.69 goals against per game, which is 13th. So they're middle of the pack defensively, but offensively, they're pretty solid. Just right around where we expected they'd be. Michael Rasmussen has been playing better for Detroit this season. He only has the 1 goal and 4 assists, but it feels like he should have more than that. On the Florida side, Verhaeghe has a lot. 17 goals, 13 assists, 30 points. And a star is born in Florida this year. It's been amazing to see how he's come along. And again, if you had a Wayback Machine, what would Tampa Bay do to try to keep Verhaeghe? Because you can't think that they knew he'd do this. That any of us knew he'd do that. So, great season for him so far. The last game that starts at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific we have to look at today is Montreal and Ottawa. Montreal's 15-8-9, Ottawa's 12-20-4. Ottawa's won 3 out of 5 in this season series. And so there shouldn't be any level of surprise. This shouldn't be a game that Montreal takes lightly. Montreal needs this. And if you look at goals for and goals against, they're ahead in both of those. They're 9th in goals scored per game, 3.22. The Ottawa Senators are 25th at 2.56. Goals against, the Montreal Canadiens are 11th at 2.63, whereas the Ottawa Senators 3.72, which is 31st. But that's still better than it was. It was a lot worse than that. So they've been bringing their goals against average down. Tatar, 7 goals, 14 assists. It's been a quiet season for Tomas Tatar. And you have to wonder how much longer is he going to be a Hab. Chris Tierney has picked it up after a slow start. 5 goals, 9 assists for him. And I do wonder with Tierney as well how long he's going to be a Senator and how long it's going to be until they move him out and bring somebody else in, that kind of thing. But yeah, that should be an interesting matchup because Ottawa's taking care of Montreal for the most part. 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 Pacific, we have the 23-8-3 Carolina Hurricanes and against Chicago, who are 17-15-5. So, got Tampa on the board, Washington on the board, Carolina on the board. A lot of the top teams, the top performing teams, and right now, it's going to be interesting to see how this works today. After a couple days ago, a lot of the top teams just all lost. So, we'll see if it happens again. So, this season series is tied at 2. Chicago's shown they can hang with Carolina. And at goals for and goals against would tell you Carolina is the better team. 3.21 goals per game, which is 10th compared to the 16th rated. 2.81 goals per game from Chicago. Goals against favors Carolina. They're 6th, 2.5 exactly goals against per game. Whereas Chicago, 3.05 goals against per game, which is 21st. Lorentz, I don't get to talk about him a lot during reviews because he doesn't score a lot. He has a goal and 2 assists. He's had a solid start to his career with Carolina. And, of course, Patrick Kane, 13 goals, 36 assists, 49 points. He's been absolutely fantastic for Chicago. If this team makes the playoffs, he will get a lot of hard votes because he's really dragging them there. Although, it may be split between him and that DeBrincat kid who's actually been really, really good this year. Also at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, we've got the Dallas Stars in against the Nashville Predators. Dallas is 11-12-10. It's a ridiculous record. It just is. Nashville's 19-17-1. They've won 6 in a row. They now lead this season series 3-2. Remember, Dallas started their season with 2 wins over Nashville. And they made it look easy in that first one especially. That was a long time ago. Goals for and against. Both numbers favor Dallas, but Dallas's goals scored per game is down to 2.73, which is 19th. The Nashville Predators, they're 26th with 2.49 goals per game. They're winning a lot of close games here. Goals against per game, Dallas 2.61, which is 9th. And for Nashville, they're 18th at 2.95 goals against per game. So they're still allowing more than they're scoring in their overall record, but they're above 500. And they're in the driver's seat for 4th place. When you think about it, they should probably win again tonight because Dallas is due for another overtime loss to make the record 11, 12, and 11. So I believe in them. All right. And then 2.5 hours later at 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific, we get Minnesota in against Vegas. Minnesota's 21-11-2, coming off of a couple of rough losses. Vegas 24-9-1, coming off of a surprising loss against LA. This season series is actually tied at 2. Vegas won the first 2. Minnesota won the next 2. Nobody's won on the road yet in this series. I'm pretty sure it was 2 wins in Vegas and 2 wins in Minnesota, so we'll see how it goes tonight. Goals for and goals against, both of them favor Vegas. Goals scored, 2.91 per game for Minnesota, which is 14th. Vegas is 8th in that regard with 3.23 goals per game. Goals against, Minnesota's 7th at 2.5 exactly goals against per game. And Vegas is 2nd at 2.29 goals against per game. Eriksson Ek started off really hot, kind of cooled off. 11 goals, 6 assists from Eriksson Ek. Only a matter of time before he heats up again. And Pacioretty, 18 goals, 15 assists, 33 points. Yeah, he's there. We talk a lot about Stone. We talk a lot about other members of this team. Pacioretty can sometimes get a lot less attention than you would think. But yeah, we'll see how that goes tonight. That could end up being the best game of the night. Be interesting to see who wins that. So let me know your picks in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you're browsing your way through, you just tap it upon this video. And hey, thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.